Alright, first and foremost, I want to say Kalalal Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kodash, the banners to the elders and apostles of Great Stone, and salutations to all the brothers pushing this work in all sincerity and in all truth. I'm the brother Yahya from James Kingston, Jamaica camp here once again with another quick lesson. And this one is going into the doom of Babylon, as you can see it right here on your screen, referencing the book of Revelation chapter 17, as it speaks about the doom of Babylon. Where is Babylon? Babylon is over there in America, because it's that great country of confusion, right? So that is what is being represented as Babylon in the scriptures, right? So certain events that are taking place right now is showing or marking the downfall of Babylon. These things are precursors to America's downfall, because right now Trump going after Greenland is causing conflicts with Denmark, Finland, and those other countries that has a vested interest in Greenland, basically the EU, right? So him having that form of approach or attack on these countries is causing a rift between them and NATO, because they are all NATO allies. So these things happening right now is showing you that they, as the scripture said, the men that are confederate with thee. Right? Let me see if I can find a precept in the book of Obadiah chapter 1 verse verse 7 says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. So the men that were once in alignment with America, they are going to start to view America as the enemy, as this country which is to be attacked, right, and brought down. Because America is on the world stage puffing up themselves, especially right now with Trump, right? As if they are the biggest, baddest thing in the world, and they're threatening making certain speech about their hidden weaponry and their military might. Trump just said that in Davos, man. Davos 2026. You understand? As a matter of fact, here's a small snippet of the speech that he made in Davos.
In doing it, I'm helping Europe, I'm helping NATO, and
He's talking about the acquisition of Greenland, right? He's basically saying that acquiring Greenland is going to help Europe and outside the country, because his country's military might will be able to provide a level of security, right, for those countries, and also for America, because they are planning to build their, I think they call it the Golden Dome system there in Greenland, right? So his argument is that Denmark and these other countries does not has the funds nor the military capability to defend that area from enemies, you know, from their enemies, right? So he's saying that his country has a better capability to do it. So Greenland should give it over, right? So it's just that's his basis of this snippet right here.
I've until the last few days when I told them about Iceland, they loved me. They called me daddy, right?
And that is the pride right there, right? That is the pride right there, man. Putin just said that they will all come wagging their tails like a dog to the master's feet, right? Meaning all of these countries, because they are afraid of America. You see me? But the scripture says, "Let the weak say I'm strong." So the time is coming when these countries will start to defend themselves, or start to position themselves against America, man.
Last time, a very smart man said, he's our daddy. He's running it. I was like running it. I went from running it to being a terrible human being. And now what I'm asking for is a piece of ice, cold and poorly located, that can play a vital role in world peace and world protection. It's a very small ask compared to what we have given them for many, many decades.
right? So that is what's taking place right now, man.
In doing it, I'm helping.
Right? You can go and listen to the whole entire speech. It's just showing the times that we're in, man. We're living in prophetic times, yo. You see me? Let's get this in the book of. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, starting at verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Right? So these speeches are signs of the coming, are the end, man. Is it, man? The signs of the end of this world, the signs of the scriptures fulfilling, the signs of prophecies, right? So these events are actually moving towards these nations, these NATO and UN allies turning against America, man, right? So this is the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 1. It says, And there came out of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, and I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So that is America, right? Because they're a global military might. They have militaries across the whole entire globe. They have military bases all over the world, man. They even have a military base over there in Greenland, right? But right now they want to get full control of Greenland, man, right? It says, With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have made drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? So even in the speech, man, he told you, Trump told you that these nations has benefited from America in vast and numerous ways. So that's why he feels so comfortable asking for Greenland, because they have benefited from them, man. And this is a part of their pride, because they are saying it proudly that all of these nations cannot survive without America, right? It says, So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So the scarlet colored beast is in representation of NATO and the EU. Basically, NATO and the EU is two different sides of the same coin, right? Because the same countries that make up NATO are pretty much the same countries that make up the EU, man, right? So it says it saw as a woman sit upon this beast, right? Which is America. That woman is America, right? So it says, And woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication, right? So America is the one that heads NATO and the EU, man. America is the one who is the dominant military might amongst them, right? So he's the one that heads it, and Trump knows that, right? And he says, and full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication, showing the level of pollution that is in America, man. The level of abomination that spews forth from America. It says, And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Right? So that is what America is, yo. Mystery Babylon the Great. That is what America is represented as in the scriptures, because America is that country that all manner of folly and vile ideologies comes from. America is that country that promotes homosexuality on an all-time high, same-sex marriage from all levels, that shows the mental deformation of individuals, having individuals believing that they can be dogs. You see me? Having individual believing that they can marry trees, right? America is that country that has a high level of witchcraft, right? America is that country that produces musical content that degrades your morality, right? And all scales. America is that country that actually does not care about the mental development of a child and a moral standard, man. Right? They do not care about the um, communities being able to feed themselves, nor grow or start a family. They don't care about your requirements of having a house and such forth, man. You see me? So America is that country which is called Mystery Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Cause all manner of abominations come forth from America, man, and they force it upon the earth, yo. Right? They force their will and their abominations upon the earth. All other countries, them go in and force it upon you. Right? Scrolling down. Starting at verse 14. Alright, we start at verse 15. It says, And he said unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations. Right? That is where the whore having bases, as I've said before. Right? Because America is that dominant global power. Them have bases pretty much everywhere upon the face of the planet. Right? And it says, And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Right? So the 10 horns are the countries. These countries are what makes up NATO and the EU. Right? So these countries, as it says, shall hate the whore. And I've said before, right, these events that are taking place with Greenland is what's causing that hatred between them and the whore. Right? Between them and America. Right? Because they're seeing that America is overextending their powers and oppressing them, right? And shall make her desolate and naked, right? So there, something is going to happen. Something is going to kick off where all of these countries that make up NATO and the EU is going to turn against America. And scripture says, shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right? So they're gonna launch missiles upon America. Right? So the stage is being set for that event to happen. The stage is being set for them to turn against America and launch missiles upon America. So it says for Yahweh, who is the real that is the real name of who the world ignorantly call God, right? And Yahweh Shai is the true name of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. So it says for Yahweh had put in their hearts to fulfill his will. Right? Same say he put it in a them will, in a them mind. Right? And put in the mind of the kings of these nations to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reign over the kings of the earth. Right? So this time is coming, man. The time of America's downfall and destruction is coming. As the chapter says, it's the doom of Babylon. Everything that is taking place right now is just treading forward in the imminent doom and destruction of America. Right? So with that I want to say Kalalali Hawa, Bashim Yoshai, Bashim Kakodash, the honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to all the brothers pushing this work in our sincerity and in our truth. Shalom.